Hey everybody, what's going on? And welcome to GNR Central. And we got some news for you guys today since it's Monday. So I hope you guys had a good weekend. And let's get started with an update on Izzy. So I want to give a shout out to Brando from Appetite for Distortion. So in late April, he had a guest on, Howie Huberman, who's has a long history with Izzy Stradlin. I think he was also one of the guys who invested in Guns N' Roses way back in the day. And he talked a bit about Izzy and what he's been up to. So he has sold both Izzy and Slash's guitars in the past as well. And one of the Izzy fan groups summarized the interview. So Izzy Hounds on Instagram summarized it by saying, during the interview, Howie said that Izzy is in great physical condition, which is great because if you guys remember the last public photo we have, he was with Matt Sorum, and a doctor friend of mine who just saw the photo said Izzy doesn't look so well. And I kind of looked at it too. I thought, oh, I hope he's doing okay, but it could have just been a bad angle or whatever. But he said Izzy is in great physical condition. He's probably in better physical shape than any of the other GNR guys, including Duff, Punk Rock, McKagan, which I'm kind of surprised because Duff is in really good shape. He also seemed to emphasize that fact during the interview. He also said that Izzy is a very intelligent guy and very knowledgeable about other things in life aside from just music. He also said that Duff is very intelligent too. I would love to hear Duff talk about punk rock one of these days. I don't think I've ever heard him talk about punk rock. He also said that Izzy has a new girlfriend who just moved in with him and that he's very happy. If you guys read the Wall Street Journal piece where Izzy was briefly interviewed over email, they basically said that at that point in time when they did the interview, Izzy was still dating his longtime girlfriend, so it looks like things didn't work out there. He also said how he said he did something for Izzy a few days ago that he couldn't talk about and that Izzy doesn't know what he had done. He also said that Izzy would probably do Brando's podcast, but he also said that Izzy's a bit aloof and he doesn't really blame him for that. And he also defended Izzy and said that he should definitely have been involved in the Not in This Lifetime tour. He should have gotten paid his proper share and not have been offered less than his worth. So it seems to basically reinforce that, he's not on tour with him because of money. And I think that's really shameful on Axl, Slash, and Duff's part, to say the least. And we've got a bunch of Duff interviews over the past couple weeks, with him promoting his new record Tenderness, which is coming out May 31st. And of course, we've got a bunch of kissing Axl's butt stories too. Like this headline I thought was a bit ridiculous. Duff said that he claims that Axl Rose has become a vocal master. And as being a Guns N' Roses fan and seeing them live a couple times, I can tell you his vocals are nowhere near as good as they were a couple of years ago. And even if you read the forums, people complain that Axl does not take care of his voice. He doesn't take warm-ups seriously. And that he seemed to be way more into the idea of performing for AC/DC. So Duff appeared on Jay Moore's podcast called More Stories, and I listened to the whole thing. I'm not a fan of Jay Moore just because of his interviewing style, but I was able to get through it, which is good for me. So he was, Duff spoke about Axl, and Duff said the following. He said, "I have a lot of respect for us as a band, as I was pre-rehearsing all the stuff before the Not in This Lifetime tour. And then when Axl came in to rehearse, and then when we played our shows, what he's done to his voice. The first time I saw him sing, I was this punk rock kid from Seattle, and I saw him in late '84," he continued by saying, "and he was like Henry Rollins. He had the intensity of Rollins, but he could sing. He had this dual voice thing. He'd had this low and high voice thing at once. Sure, he was born with certain gifts singing-wise, but he works his ass off. He was doing vocal lessons. He was doing vocal warm-ups, warm-downs back then. And nowadays, when we go out and play, he starts his vocal warm-ups. He does about an hour and a half of pure vocal warm-ups, and then we play 3.5 hours, but the guy's become a master." Duff went on to say that he really has started to appreciate his bandmates a lot more, in particular Slash. He said all he does is play guitar all day long. He basically gets up, goes to the gym, and just starts playing guitar all the way up to the gig and plays the guitar. He gets so lost sometimes. And we have this part of the set where he does a guitar solo, and it's just him on stage, and he gets lost in himself, lost in what he's doing, and that's the purest form of communication. He'd sit down and talk to you for a while, but he's a man of few words, and his words are all through his guitar. And then there's times his guitar solo will just keep going, and I don't want to stop him. And the cue is when we come out on stage and start playing this thing, and then he'll come back to us, Slash. And sometimes he'll play for 20 to 25 minutes, and we just let him go on. And he carries a crowd of 50,000 people all along this journey, and it's not just this guitar solo. Turning now to some cool YouTube videos that appeared online. So you guys know about Guns N' Roses' famous Hell House. I don't think I've done a true story episode about it yet. I plan on doing it at some point in time. I know one of you guys really enjoyed the Hell Tour video I did, which was GNR's first tour, and said, "Hey Sid, you should do more videos from their early days before they got signed." And I plan on doing that in the future for sure. I definitely would say that, yeah, my videos have skewed more towards the Illusion era and, more recently towards like the Appetite tour and those kinds of things. And I definitely want to explore the stuff between 85 and 87 for sure. So there's a guy who did his name's Scott on Tape, and he posted a video on his channel where he took subscribers to the infamous Hell House that the band used to hang out back in the day. So he claimed, though, apparently the location on Fuller Street that most fans visit is not the proper location for the Hell House. It's actually a few blocks down. And from what I remember from visiting the video, I think the Hell House is now a gym, if I'm not mistaken. So he takes you on a tour of that. There's also another cool YouTube video that came out recently. You guys remember the MGM 727 the band used to ride on during the Use Your Illusion tour? Well, you guys are maybe wondering what happened to that plane. Well, the plane still exists, but it's abandoned now. So there's a really cool YouTube channel, and it's kind of funny. There's a YouTube channel for everything. Like there's a YouTube channel that's all about airplanes. So they were at an airfield in Detroit, Michigan, and they stumble across the same MGM 727. It's basically just like abandoned, sitting on the runway. They go take an inside tour of it, and you can see what's become of it. And it's at the 8-minute 45-second mark. And it's kind of cool because you can see some of the old videos of the 727 back in like the early 90s when they were promoting it and trying to get people to, use it, like the rich people. So it's pretty cool if you guys go check that out. Those are probably some of the highlight news stories of the week for sure. So Duff has been pretty active on Twitter calling out like misleading or clickbaity headlines on different websites where he's given interviews. And one of them was Ultimate Guitar. So I think Ultimate Guitar, I don't remember if they did the interview with him or they took one of his interviews. I know actually it would have been the interview with Jay Moore. So they had a headline on Twitter saying, Duff McKagan says Slash can get so lost playing guitar solos. To which Duff responded, yes, in the context of the whole thing I said for this article, it was really about how I appreciate his hard work ethic. Not a great headline, Ultimate Guitar, especially when the subject was tenderness. It's kind of a tricky thing. Duff needs to go out and promote stuff. But at the end of the day, if you're an artist trying to promote something, do you really care if there's like clickbaity stuff because it gets more people to click on it? People become more aware of tenderness and they may go buy the record. But at the end of the day, though, at the same time, Slash may see that and be like, oh, he may just look at the headline and get offended. Then he's got to go call Slash and tell him I didn't say that. And it's kind of a double-edged sword, right? So, I mean, it's difficult, but I think, Duff, you're going to see more of this happening as Duff's going on promoting his solo record. And then I think if Guns do release a new record, I would be curious to see, like, okay, how do they go out and promote this thing? Do they not promote it like they did with the Appetite box set and just let word of mouth and let the sites promote it by releasing press releases and reviews? I think that would be a real conundrum. Like, if they're going to go promote a new record or new release that I'm hearing that they may put out this fall, how are they going to go do that? Because Axl's not going to give interviews. And I think it'll rely mostly on Slash and Duff giving interviews, and maybe Richard Fortas will do the same thing, and Frank and Melissa. So we'll have to wait and see, but it could be very interesting this fall. So a news story I'd reported last week was that there's a new Shannon Hoon documentary that could feature Guns N' Roses footage that previously was unseen by fans. Well, now it's been confirmed there is previously unseen Guns N' Roses footage in the new Shannon Hoon documentary, All I Can Say. So super trustworthy site Alternative Nation basically published a review of the new documentary. And in the review, they referenced some Guns N' Roses footage in the film, saying the following: what lies in between is a treasure trove of footage for fans of Shannon and the band, including cameos by the likes of Slash, Axl Rose, Lenny Kravitz, and even an audio appearance by Neil Young. You'll just have to see the scene to know what I'm talking about. And then they also talk about Shannon delivering a pizza totally nude to Axl during a Guns N' Roses concert. And you'll also see Shannon recording vocals for No Rain and working on a demo of the song Soup, among other notable scenes. Now, the footage of Hoon delivering the pizza during a Guns N' Roses show in 1993 actually surfaced a couple of years ago. I still remember it. It was like in a fisheye lens. It was a really shitty quality piece of footage. It was like taken backstage, and you could see like Shannon walking to the stage, delivering the pizza, and then like that was basically it. And then it got pulled online. I don't know who put it up originally, but then it got removed almost immediately. So that footage I've seen, but I'm curious to see what the other appearance, like what other cameos you'll see of Slash and Axl. I think it could be maybe the footage from when he was in the studio with Guns N' Roses recording background vocals. Because if you guys saw the VH1 Behind the Music for Blind Melon, there's a scene with Axl and Slash a lot of you guys probably haven't seen before, and it's like a quick snippet, but it talks about him being in the studio with the guys from Guns N' Roses. So that does it for today's video, guys. Thanks for watching. Let me know what your thoughts are down below, and go check out my other channel, Rock and Roll True Stories. I've been enjoying the hell out of that channel, just like uploading so many videos on there, covering so many different wide variety of stories, Whereas Guns N' Roses feels like it's just, so much harder to keep coming up with ideas for it. Rock and Roll True Stories has like endless things you can think of. And, there's some really cool stuff. And you guys seem to love the Alice in Chains stories. And there's tons of more of those coming out as well. So take care, guys, and go check out my other channel, Rock and Roll True Stories. See ya.